Hey everyone, what's going on? My name's Hyun, welcome to a brand new video. And finally, after almost 2 months of radio silence from the Rysad team, we finally received update 0.1.2.8. During the span of waiting, I really gave them two options. They were either going to come back with a massive update, or they just straight up gave up on their community. And luckily, they delivered on that. However, before we get into the actual update itself, I think it's very important we take a peek at the Steam chart, because this update is definitely going to be the do or die of this game. Okay, so before you guys come at me for bashing an indie developer for having a lack of players on their game, I think it's fair that we take a peek at the statistics here. As you can see, over the past 3 months, this game has peaked at over 16,000 people playing at once, which is honestly very good numbers, and if I'm being honest, I'm pretty sure that's the launch numbers. However, over the past 2 months especially, you can see that number just plummet down, and right now, as the screenshot was taken, it's at 700. However, I've seen that number get as low as 300 at a time, and that's just kind of sad. Can this update save the game? I sure fucking hope so. However, I'm not gonna get my hopes up either. They kind of left 800,000 people hanging for 2 months. Okay, finally, jokes and jabs aside, it's time to get into the actual update. As you can see, we're gonna have to break this up into a couple different chunks, just because when I said they delivered, I meant they delivered. This bitch is fucking massive. Let's see if it's actually good. So to kick things off, we're gonna start out with fixes. And the first one was dead body performance optimization. I guess the corpses were making people lag. I wouldn't know about that because I don't play on a fucking toaster, but that's good. Maybe my friends with the 1600 graphics cards can hop in too. So remember when I said in the past update where it was supposed to be 3 kills per upgrade for the guns? Turns out that was actually not supposed to happen. So they tweaked that, and as you can see, I'm absolutely tearing ass in this gun game gameplay and just switching through guns, so they did actually fix it. Personally, for myself, this next fix is a little bit controversial. While some people would say it's OP, others may say it's called skill gapping. Regardless, lots of people are complaining that the bunny hopping mechanic is a little bit too OP and unrealistic, so what they decided to do instead was completely remove it, and now there's like a 5-second cooldown on the jump, which is even more unrealistic. I know I only weigh 135 pounds, but strap me up with a backpack and a metal gun and tell me to jump in like twice in 5 seconds, I guarantee you I could do it. Let's lower the cooldown to maybe like 2.5, that's fair play. Smashing the fuck out of the buttons a little too much, but yeah, let's have some leniency here. With that being said as well, I haven't played that much over the past 2 months. For all I know, maybe bunny hopping was a massive issue. The next thing they claimed they fixed was the mantle animation, and while I'll be honest, the mantle animation does look really nice. While I was jumping around and testing the V-hop mechanics, I accidentally clung onto a table and this happened. Ew, what is this? That's gross. I don't like that. They need to get rid of that. That's disgusting. Like, I like the old man. Yeah, that mantle's fine. But what the fuck was that? Like, hold up. I'm trying to do. Yeah. Ugh. The last two fixes I'm going to touch up on real quick were an inventory drop fix, Rysad point / ranked point system rework. Those things were just little internals, so I won't even touch on those really. But overall, nice little changes that were definitely needed. Next up on the list, we'll be covering character player changes. And for that, there was actually a lot of really interesting ones that I thought were good. So getting right into it, the player's skin now reacts to dynamic weather such as rain and snow. I personally have no clips of this. However, in the ending of the day, I'm sure it's just a cosmetic effect. Players also react to flashbangs and scream when hit. At the current moment, I don't have an example of this. However, I'm just going to take their word for it, and I'm just going to hope to God we don't see bugs later saying it doesn't actually work. Continuing on down the list, we have aiming sensitivity and balancing. Essentially, this is just to stabilize aim for people with terrible PCs. Once again, I don't have an example of that. However, from playing CSGO on a laptop as a kid, I can tell you right now, aiming with an SMG on 15 FPS is an extremely daunting task. The last two on the list were some of my personal favorites of the update itself. They improved the camera movements, which including a complete rework of the leaning mechanics, which makes them feel a lot more crisp and clean. And they also made it so there's a right and left sprint option to enhance the mobility, almost like the COD Omni movement. Well, lots of you may be saying to yourselves, these changes look very minuscule in the training room. Once you get into an actual gameplay situation, the ability to run left and right actually low-key kind of makes up for the removal of bunny hopping. It's not a complete perfect replacement, however, it's nice to have the additional option. Quickly covering the changes to the UI, they improved the scoreboard so it's now more visually appealing, and you can also see the other players' ranks, just so you can see how hard you're about to get diffed out. They also improved the settings, making them more visually appealing, as well as making it so you can change your lobby settings in the menu. And last but not least, they improved the map and game mode selection, making it so you select your mode first, just so you know which maps are specifically available for said game mode. They also added in new labels such as new, updated, patched, and also temporarily disabled. Speaking of which, oil rig's been removed for some odd reason. I swear to God, if you change my baby oil rig, I'm gonna crash the— Jumping on into the next part, we have our map changes. Are you feeling exhausted yet? Cause I sure fucking am, and we're only halfway through this document. Starting off with our changes, the first claim that we'll be going over is our player spawn system. And I say claim because I'm really not that confident that it actually happened. Let me read this word for word. We improved the spawn system by making it more intelligent and flexible for all game modes, like spawning automatically next to your allies in modes that allow it. That is such a low-hanging fruit, because if you load up any mode that doesn't have allies, you are getting fucked. And sometimes spawning with your allies doesn't even save you. Look at the step bro stuck position I put these kids in just because they just kept spawning with their friends. Moving on to our next map, we have Warhouse. As for the paths that they talk about, they just put a hole in the second floor that enemies can fall through right after spawning in. They also made it so that there was a lot of lights added into the basement, as well as little barricades on all the railings of the stairs, just so you don't get shot as easily. Nice changes, but if they really want to fix Warhouse, they have to add another path into the basement, because people will just rat down there and ruin the experience for everybody else. As for the next map, we have Abandoned Hospital. While in the patch notes they claim all they did was fix various collision areas, I see exactly what they did. When I walked straight down Wheelchair Hallway and I saw that red glow, I got the fattest fucking boner I've ever felt in my fucking life. I literally felt like women after they got the right to vote. I felt heard. Oh my god, thank you so much. No longer will my head be torn off. I have a chance to return a bullet. Ladies and gentlemen, I can see. Also off topic, they still haven't fixed Body Bomb. The bomb's still in their spawn, bro. Come on! Last but not least for our maps, we have Russian Building. As for the changes, they added a couple more lights as well as 2 pathways outside. Stairs leads up to the hallway bridge, just so it's not there for no reason anymore. And then there's also another cheeky entrance at the first floor, just for our little rats that like to hide in the dark. Honorable mention as well, technically Tumblewood did have a modification, however it was just on one of the buildings and they literally just added more trees around it, so I didn't want to add an entire segment for it. Overall, all of the map changes they did in my opinion were extremely necessary, and my only complaints is that Warhouse didn't get a second pathway into the basement. Other than that though, literally fantastic updates. Now going over information, there was just a couple little things they added. Firstly, they added in contributor graffitis into the training room, and then in the future, these graffitis will also appear on new and old maps. They also added in an update, making it so you can only select your team at the start of a game. Personally, myself, one would argue you shouldn't be able to change your team midway through a match, but hey, better late than never, I suppose. And last but not least, the previous game mode called Team Deathmatch has now been changed to Verse to make room for a brand new traditional Team Deathmatch game mode, which we'll be talking about in a second. And last but not least, we finally arrived at the reason why everyone clicked on this video. We finally arrived at the brand new modes and maps. Firstly, we have Team Deathmatch. If you need me to explain how traditional Team Deathmatch works, you're probably too young to be watching my videos, and you should probably turn them off before your parents ground you. Jumping into the second new game mode, as well as the new map, it's called The Pit. And to explain it in more simple terms, it's a 1st to 5 1v1, aka it's the gulag from COD but with rounds. Game mode itself isn't too bad. I could see the concept getting pretty boring after a while. However, it is nice for them to add in a 1v1 mode so people can finally say, yo, 1v1 me in the pit, fam! Also, I'm not gonna lie about this gameplay. I was versing a general that plays every day, me being a general who plays once every 2 months, and I got my shit spanked real bad. Oh my god, those guys are hanging! I didn't even see that earlier. That's crazy. And last but not least, we finally have the brand new map Public Pool. Now this map has been leaked for over 2 months now, and personally myself, I've been heavily anticipating it. Now I don't know about you guys, but personally after playing this map a couple of times, I believe the description does a fair job describing what the map actually is. The map contains 2 wide open areas to support ranged gunplay. They also have a lot of different dark spots and close quarter hallways to help support players that prefer a more close range fighting style. The map also has 2 stairwells to contain 2 floors of fighting. Overall, I feel like this map has lots of playability and lots to be discovered. enjoyed running through it a couple different times, so definitely worth finding the secrets around it. It also has a mesmerizing map design and graphics, so there's no complaints there either. Overall, I would put this map up there with Oil Rig, and if I'm being honest with you, it's my favorite map that's dropped since the game released. If I have one singular complaint about Public Pool as a map right now, it would be that there's so many vines from the rooftop, so when you spawn in with your drone, the chances of you crashing are probably like 50-50. That could also be a skill gap issue. However, it would just be a lot easier for everyone if you could either just fly through them, or if they just weren't there to begin with. This hasn't released yet, however, it was leaked with this update. They do plan on adding in a little bit of a zombies mode. I hope that they take inspiration from COD's older games and not the newer ones, because to me, it would be personally really fun to have rounds in a realistic zombie shooter, and I'm sure I could have lots of fun streams. After thoroughly going through the entire update with you guys, if I have to be honest, this is probably the best update they've dropped so far, and hopefully they strive to do more quality drops like this in the future. My only problem is, as I mentioned with the player count from before, it might be too late. I truly believe there's a future for this game with the work they've put in and the criticism they're willing to take from their community. As for myself personally, I really do enjoy making these kinds of videos. However, I won't lie to y'all, I'm only gonna do it as long as it keeps doing good. If you enjoy my body cam content and you want to keep seeing more of it, please be sure to comment below, leave a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. But without further ado, I'm out of here. Peace out, everybody.